Hello, and welcome to the Low Code Cafe, episode number 182, where we today, for March 19, 2025, we're going to talk about the Plant App Starter Plan. I am Dale Warner, Head of Support for Plant App. Bogdan Lutescu will be doing part of this presentation today, and Patrick Anderson will be, who's Technical Success Manager, is going to be minding the store. Watching the Q&A in the chat, and so we want to make sure we get all of your questions answered. But yeah, main topic today is going to be the starter plan and what you can do with it. The Low Code Cafe is an event we do every Wednesday, bi-weekly, every other Wednesday at 10 a.m. Central Time, and it's just an opportunity for us to get together, talk about what's going on here at Plant and App, and the developments, and do some hands-on low coding, which we will be doing some of that today as well. We record all of them and put them on YouTube, so you can get to them at youtube.com/plantandapp, and we'll be pointing to some videos later on in this episode as well. As a matter of fact, here they are now. We'll put these links up again, and they're also in the chat. But we do an event on Fridays, the Low Code Campfire. We encourage you to sign up and come to that. And it's a great place that it's a meeting format. So if you want to talk more about what you see today, we'll be doing that on Friday at 10 a.m. Central. We'll also be making reference to the Plant and App installer. It's the easy way to install Plant and App if you've previously used our products or never used our products. It will upgrade you to the current version of DNN as well as install Plant and App. And so here's the link. There is an hour long, or it's where we dealt with that topic and showed exactly what the installer looks like in an episode of the Low Code Campfire. And then the last one is if you want to learn more about our plans. With that, I'm going to ask Bogdan if he'll step in and share a little bit about what's been going on with the Plant and App and our newest version.
Thanks, Dale. If you can stop sharing so I can share my own screen, that'd be great. So yes, the moment is finally here. Has been a long time under working, which is the ability to have a lower entry plan into Plant and App, because as you know, DNN Sharp, many of you know DNN Sharp was a massive suite of product. Plant and App is even bigger. So we did this a lot of effort in the past year and a half to create an offering, a smaller plan that has a subset of the features of Plant and App, still valuable enough to achieve quite valuable use cases, but also be affordable so everybody can get in and upgrade at their own pace based on the features one needs. So there's two ways you can start trialing this plan immediately. You can download an installer, put it on your DNN instance, and they will speak more about this. We also have a SaaS model, so if you create an account from this page, and I'll post this page in the chat, you can also get into the cloud environment of Plant and App and do it from there. So as mentioned, our idea with the starter plan was to lower the entry point, but still be a subscription model, so we are able to continue our innovation, continue bringing disruption in the DNN space as well. So the plan is at $69.95 per month, and then there is a marketplace where you'll see different packages. We'll look at that in a bit. One thing to mention is that the Plant and App installs on top of the DNN Sharp suite, so meaning most, if not all, of your previous configuration will still work after the upgrade. You don't need to do many things. With the mention that there are some features that we no longer have, or some features that are marked obsolete, or some newer, better features like Bootstrap file support everywhere that you'd want to migrate towards. And finally, to mention, it's future-proof. We've been around since 2009 as a top vendor in the DNN space, and we continue to innovate. We continue to thrive. We continue to bring this platform to many organizations across the world. Some very, very big customers. And in fact, when we started Plant and App, we also joined a new category. It's called low code, no code, and where we rate very well. So you might. Let's look at this report just for a second. You might recognize some of these names here, which are very big names like Microsoft, ServiceNow, Appian, and others. And you can already see, and knowing our previous products as well, the level of innovation that we bring placed us as a leader in this quadrant. This is Infotech, so it's an analyst company that did this survey based on the customer feedback. And so we are here and we continue to innovate just so you have a perspective on what we did as a company for the past couple of years as well. Getting back to the starter plan, what's included in the starter plan? They will get to show us hands-on leveraging this feature to build an actual application. But some of the things that like action form builder, it's included. It's not included completely, meaning there will be some actions or some fields or some capabilities that will require an extra package that is available to the marketplace. So for example, this doing SQL actions or running scripting like JavaScripts or Razors, these are packages that you can get through the marketplace. One is called data integration, the other is called scripting. But 80–90% of the action form, as you know it's already there, plus lots more functionalities. Same with listing, which you guys know as Action Grid. One of the new capabilities in Plantanet, it's the entity builder, meaning designing databases and starting with the data model first. So you start creating an entity, and you'll see that in the demo today, which just by defining some entities, so let's say a customer and some properties, that already generates everything for you, starting with the data, but also generates the forms, the listing, the pages, everything that's needed in just a minute. Other things like the action engine. So action engine means the action that you've been using in action form, in Action Grid, and a lot more that we've added over the years are included. Tabs Pro. With Tabs Pro, there's no other extra packages for it. It comes completely as you know it. With My Tokens, which was another one of our former popular modules, in the starter plan, all the core tokens are included. The ability to create custom tokens is restricted just to constant tokens. And then other things like SQL token, for example, comes with the same data integration package that I mentioned with the action form. And then there are some add-ons that we have, like the Excel add-on, because many times about this data application, it's exporting, importing data from spreadsheets. User management, so login forms, registration forms, also user management use cases can be achieved with this package. And then file and portal management, they allow automation of various tasks like portals. You can create pages, add modules to it, all programmatically from, let's say, another form when you click a button. Same with file management, you have the ability to interact with the virtual file system to create folders, manage files, and so on. One final thing to say. So this plan comes with community support. We have a community forum. It's community.plantanet.com, where there's a lot of engagement. People help each other. We step in to help as well. There's additional options for paid support, and I will speak about those in a bit as well. Before going too far, everything else that I not mentioned and a lot more that you might know or not know, they are available to this marketplace. So this is also something new that we are launching together with the starter plan. And the marketplace will initially have different packages that we post, but the vision is that we'll open up this to community. So in future iteration, people in our community can come here and post their own packages, and packages can be anything, can be extensions to Plantanet, so new actions, new fields, things like that. We are working on application templates, meaning not starting from a blank canvas, but having some sort of starter template like a CRM or a code system or a support desk system, things like that. So there are currently 38 packages, some that I mentioned, like data integration, and all of these are detailed here, what they include, what they can achieve, things like that. Pricing is not public yet. It will be made public in the next iteration. The way the marketplace works now is you just put the packages that you are interested on, and you'd request a code, add some additional thoughts if needed, and then we'll reach out and make a proposal for you. The reason being, this is a new thing. We want to be able to experiment with everything with pricing to be able to offer the best value that makes sense for us as a community as a whole. So this will be part of the next iteration. I mentioned a bit about the support options. So in Plantain app, there's many supports options available. Dale leads the community and support efforts on our end, and you'll see him produce this kind of low-code cafe webinars every 2 weeks, the facilitating the campfire every Friday, and topics on the community forums and other initiatives. But besides that, there's also an official documentation site where you can see the documentation on various things listed here. It's searchable. Also, there's a welcome page here that will detail basically the same thing that I mentioned just briefly, all the ways that you can get support. This documentation, there's an academy with tutorials that you can do. There's the cafe, hundreds and hundreds of videos on our YouTube channel, very good videos with training content. Finally, there are some paid support options as well, and this will come under 2 forms. We have a thing called professional developer seats, and this again is available on the marketplace. So professional developer seats basically comes with agent-based support and a couple of other features. Like one that has been requested quite a lot was the ability to create non-production environments without adding an extra license. And this is included for the professional dev seat tiers. We'll be most likely to speak more about these developer seats in the future, because it's a new thing we added in Plantain app. So it will for now it's only available for the starter plan, but we'll roll it out for everyone in the coming weeks, months. And then the second part is consulting services. So we often get involved with customers needing, let's say, to upgrade from a very old DNN sharp versions that is not quite easily to upgrade from, or needing to replace a third-party module that no longer is around, the vendor is no longer around, or just accelerating some kind of rollout of a major feature, a major update on the system. So we are here to help with everything. And besides us helping, we also have a strong community of professional developers that we can facilitate relationships with to match the right person for the job. There will be many questions. I'm not sure if we have any in the chat already.
We do have one.
Yeah.
Justin asks, are there any changes to product or pricing for your customers already on Plantain app?
Sure. So anyone can get this starter plan. There are no other changes for current customers, but anyone can get this starter plan. But of course, if you use other features, you lose access to them. Other features not listed here.
And we have one other question. When will pricing be available for marketplace items?
I anticipate that maybe in around 1 month after this. We are just launching the starter plan today, so this is the launch event. So we'll start many different conversations that many people already shown the interest and have been waiting for us to get here. And based on the feedback that we receive on what is fair, what is fair compared to the value, we'll have the pricing published on the marketplace as well.
Thank you. You mentioned Bootstrap 5. Is that required? Wondering if Plantain app will be compatible with DNN themes built on older Bootstrap versions.
We still have Bootstrap 3 around, but it's no longer maintained, meaning when you upgrade from DNN Sharp, the Bootstrap 3 themes for forms for this thing will still be there and you can use them. but some features are available only for Bootstrap 5. So you'll eventually want to upgrade, but you are not required to do so when you upgrade. Just that if you have any bugs, we'll not be able to fix them. It's no longer maintained for us.
Good. Well, thanks for those initial questions. We'll have another question and answer session after I get done with a little bit of demonstration that I'm going to do. Are you,
Just to wrap it up, on this page you'll also find some FAQs, frequently asked questions that we heard from different channels, like what is the upgrade process? So we have a bit of that. Some of our popular modules like search boost forms, what happens with them, things like that. So you can already find a lot of your questions here, but if you have any, feel free to reach out to me, to Dale, via any channel available. So as mentioned, there's two options to try it out. So there is a 7-day trial. You can try it out before. You can see if it's a good fit, if it works for your requirements, and we'd be happy to support you along the way.
Perfect. There was one more question, which I think easy enough to answer. Do you support Bootstrap 5 included in the DNN theme? And in general, we've changed our policy with regard to the way that Bootstrap gets loaded. In previous iterations under Bootstrap 3, we loaded that for you. Now, when you use Bootstrap 5, we assume that your theme is going to load Bootstrap 5. So the simple answer would be yes, the Bootstrap 5 in any theme it would be required and used when you activate the Bootstrap 5 features. We also release a simple theme. We call it Plant an App Page Builder, which gives you and that's what I'll be using today. So you'll get to see that, and that's available to you as well, and has Bootstrap 5 in it. All right. Shall I? Yes. Here we go. All right. So the hands-on low coding that I intend to do today is just to demonstrate what can you do with the starter plan. The starter plan is intended for general purpose form building, building simple data applications, being able to see your data, creating some simple business logic, being able to export and import from sources like Excel, and then you can do user login and registration. So all those things are going to be part of that. I'm going to be demonstrating about the first 4 of those today. Let's see. Here's my demo site, and let me get started so first of all, this is just an empty Plant an App site, or as it would come as you were to start a demo, if you were to start a hosted trial. And so on the home page, we have this display of how to get started, and I'm just going to delete that module so that we can start with an empty home page and go on. So one of our earlier products was Action Form, and I'm going to demonstrate, for example, that after you have Plant an App installed, Action Form is still available and the kinds of things that you can build with it. So if we place an Action Form on a page and do Manage Form, it lets us configure it. We can either start out with a blank form or a contact form. I'm going to use contact form just to demonstrate a very common use scenario where somebody wants to put a form on their page that looks something like this, that it has last name, first name, last name, email, phone, subject, message, and you click the button and it sends an email. So this is just something that very common, and that we built a pre-built form for. We could build a custom form with Action Form, add our own fields and rearrange things. But we'll use this pre-built one just to demonstrate that Action Form, if you've used it before, that you know and love, still works exactly the same. Probably if a little bit of visual layout, for example, some changes on the builder, but uh, pretty much the same. So this will be our contact form, name it, and we have a send now button that's pre-built, and so we'll look and make sure that all these settings are as we would expect. We have a on-click handler. What does it do? Well, it sends an email to admins, it sends an email to the person who's filling in the form, and it displays a message. I'm just going to look through the setup of all these to make sure it does what I want it to do. So it's going to come from the default. It's going to go to, I want to send it to me, so I'm going to put my email address in here. The subject is going to be whatever they typed, but I'm also going to add Café 182, just the string, so I can easily find it in my email when it comes in. And so we have the body showing a new message from whoever's filling in the form. And so that's the email to the admins. There's a confirmation email we're going to do back to them, and that's going to same thing. I'm just for demonstration purposes here. I'm going to add a tag to make it easy to find them in my mailbox. But we are sending them a message that says, "We've received your message. We'll get back to you shortly." Um, and it's going the determined email. Let's see. We're going to send it to their email, which is the coming from this, whatever they filled in here, that's who we're sending it to. And then the final thing on screen, we're going to show a message that says your message was received, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. So let's see this at work. We refresh our page, we fill in the form. I'm going to use my form filler here, and fill in a play email address. And and we hit send now. I'm going to go over and look in my mailbox here and drag it over so we can see it. So we have a couple of messages. One that is going to the one that says to the administrator, tell me more about the starter plan. To the person who sent it in, we've received your message. We'll get back to you shortly. So these send email activities have worked as we expected, and the um, the display message as well. So we can see the use case of a simple um, contact form handled automatically. It doesn't have to be any more complex than that. And that is the action demonstration. Action form still works as you would expect. So I just like to keep track of where we are. We've built a contact form with action form. We customized it a little bit, and we demonstrated that it works. So now we start getting into the power of what you get with Plant an App that you haven't seen before. We'll build a simple data application where we're going to create an entity. It's doing a whole lot of work for you to create a database table and more. And we're going to wire that contact form so that it saves data. So now we start building an application. Um, so Plant an App um, adds a configuration page to your site. You can call it other things. We recommend you call it configuration. And so this is the basic builder view that you would see as a developer. And so we see all the features of Plant an App listed down the side. And so things like being able to add users and create pages, um, we have a file manager that ships with this. All these different features, each are an area within Plantain App. We're going to go to entities and create a new entity. And I'm going to make sure I don't get too far off the beaten path by copying a setup that I already have. Nope. Um, we're filling in the blank, contact me request, or the plural of that is requests. When somebody fills in our form, we're going to create a data table. When somebody creates an entry, when somebody fills in our form, we're going to create entries in that in this table so that we can follow up on them. Um, One of the properties that we're going to keep up with is the email, and we're going to make that be a field of a particular type. It's going to be an email field type. We're going to have first name, all the same ones from our contact form. And look at our form, first name, last name, email. We have phone, subject, and message. Um, Subject, phone. For message, I'm going to make this could be a very long thing, so we're going to use large text as a field type. We just get a little bit different functionality depending on what field types we pick. So let's make sure I've got them all now. 6 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. And with that, I'm going to save this. Reminds me of I'm going to take a look at one more thing. I didn't look at the permissions, but we want users to be able to add records into this table, and so I'm going to check for. There's some security things that are built into the tables, and we'll make it where users can see their own things and even edit their own contact information. So we'll build that in. Um, but having done that little bit of work, what you'll see now on the site is that we have a new menu option called Contact Me Requests. It has a little bit of functionality and logic built in behind it, where we've automatically built an entry form that prompts for email and all the same fields. It lists out the information down below. I'm going to enter a quick test record here just to show what kind of things you can do with an entity. So you can see some automatic data editing going on for things like the the email address must be valid, the phone number must be a phone number in US in whatever format we've picked. And so now we can see that as a result of adding a new record, it's showing up as data in a table. So um, in keeping up with where I'm going, we created an entity and we start seeing all the things that we get from it. A form to fill in the data, a listing to show it. I guess I'll take just a moment and show you the behind the scenes, some of these assets we've created for you automatically. We have this action form that got built automatically with either an add or an update button, because there's logic to be able to update the field, update the data record. Um, and then we've also built an action grid. We call them listings now, but it's an action grid that has as its data source, it is the pointing to the entity of the contact me requests. and we can do some sorting and filtering there as well. Um, we have the field showing up. We have the ability to have buttons on the item or buttons on the route. We have a number of settings, so we could display this. For example, this was showing in data table view, but there are other views, for example, card view, to be able to display them. Notice this green icon you'll see in several places when you're using when you're using the starter plan. Anything, or really any plan now, anything that's not part of the product, um, has this icon, and it will tell you about how you can upgrade to it. If you hit upgrade, it'll take you to the marketplace and tell you more about that product or feature and why you would turn it on, and then the ability to request a quote. So it takes you directly into the marketplace and starting that process of finding the price. For now, it's a discussion, but it will be pricing will be posted. So we have a little bit of an application that we're starting to build. Um, and it was done for us automatically with just by creating an entity. So now, from a next objective, starting to do some simple, how do we build things? How do we start building an application? If we go back to our original contact me that we created, our contact form that we created earlier, let's say that the objective that we want to do is anytime somebody fills in this form, we want to put that data automatically into the contact me requests table so that we can follow up on them. That's our business objective. So I am going to edit this contact form and add that logic to the send now button. So when they click send now, we're still sending the emails, but now we want to do something more. So we're going to create new, that's the thing we're looking for. We're going to create a new contact me request. This action got built for us automatically because as soon as we created the entity, and it's a fill in the blank kind of a thing. So let's first get this where it belongs. I'm going to do the create before I do any send email. It doesn't really matter, but it has to be above that display error message. That's a final action. And so we do the fill in the blank where we take the fields from up above and uh, put those values, send those values to this action so that it can create it. So we have all these fields, and they're pretty much the same name as what we have, so I'll be able to fill them in. Um, but we need to use the IDs from those fields above. Putting them in brackets uses our token engine, which results in expanding them. So this is putting the values of subject as the subject. The output token is the new record ID. Whatever the record ID that gets created will be stored in this token, which we can use elsewhere. So, for example, in our message where we're sending to the administrators, we can, in the body, say, he is new record ID. And so that'll be in our email. So, as simple as that, this, of course, everything has to be tested, but here, when I built this contact form, I didn't use a phone formatter, so it's just accepting it as text. So here we are, we're testing it out. I click send now, and it did what we did before. We're getting emails and everything else, but if we now look in contact me requests, we have this new record that's been created for us by that action. So the showing the building the beginning of an application. So we can see the data, it's coming out in Action Grid. We can do more things with that. So we can start to build some simple business logic. So what I'm going to do next is to build in some status information. And so part of this is I'm going to build, first of all, a status entity, and then we'll add that to the contact me request. You'll see well, let's just do it. I think it'll make sense. So we're going to create a contact status. Plural of that is going to be contact status values. And from a page perspective, I'm just going to hide it under the contact me requests. And it's just going to have a name and nothing else. And from a permission standpoint, we're going to want to make sure that everyone can view all of these. And so we'll save. So creating this new entity has given us now a new menu option where we can maintain the contact status values. And so they're going to start out as being, we'll have the value of new and in progress. And we'll have another one for complete. And so 1 is new, 2 is in progress, 3 is complete. We have these new values. Let's wire these into the contact me request. We can go to the contact me that we set up a little earlier and say the status. We want to be able to monitor the status of each contact. And instead of picking a large text or a small text, we have another section called entities. And so now that contact status entity that we just built, we can click and do that. This is going to automatically build a, when we're interactively using the form, let's take a look at it. If we look at our database, we now have a status column here, so it's automatically modified the listing for us. And if we edit a entry, status shows on the list, and we have this drop down new, in progress, complete. So you can see the power of how just kind of following, using entities and related entities, that you start seeing these nice automatic things like drop downs being built for you and being able to choose from them. I like to keep the contact form would be useful to have it completely up to date. So I'm going to go back to the building of the contact form, this manual thing that we did where we added create new contact me request. And see, now we have a status that isn't getting a value. The action to build a status, to build a contact record didn't have this originally, but we're going to add the one value, the new value here, so that when a new contact comes in, it gets the status value of new. So now we can explore a little bit about adding some logic to follow up. And this is just, again, the intention here is simple business logic that that we're implementing. We have these contact me requests. Maybe we want to add a button that says when I start working with this contact that we can mark that it's in progress. And then when we've done the follow-up and the follow-up is complete, we mark it as complete. So we'll add a couple of buttons so we can interact with this and keep up with the status. I'm going to do that by editing the listing and adding a couple of buttons. So the first button that we'll add, an item button called icon. Maybe we'll use the running icon to do that. We'll put that on the button. So just that much gets a button onto the listing. So now we have an in progress button that doesn't do anything. So let's make it do something. In progress button has actions, and the actions are we're going to partially update the contact me request. The one that we want to update is identified by the ID. Well, just so you know where we're getting this from, if we look at the data, we have each contact has an ID, and we can refer to that in our button logic. So we're going to modify the contact me ID, and we want to change the status to be status 2, which is the in progress. The other thing we'd be useful to do is to do a data source refresh on this listing. So the listing will immediately reflect the change as soon as we click the button. So let's see this at work. If we now click the in progress button, we see the status changes to in progress. Same with this one. So now, useful, maybe we can just kind of finish this simple logic off by adding another button that is complete, and this time we'll just change the color of the button a little bit. We just can style this in different ways. We'll turn on the "Are you sure?" logic. Yes. So now we're essentially doing the same logic, and I'm going to in the lazy way of development, I'm going to export this partially update so that I can just reuse it, just fill it in. So we'll import that back in down here, and now we can customize it. So we're updating the same ID, we're changing the status, but we're changing it to 3, and then doing a data source refresh. So essentially the same thing, just another button to do the same thing. So now we have, it shows, instead of with an icon, it shows with colors, but lots of options there. So if something was complete, we could click that. We get our yes, no choice, and the status changes to complete, assuming we say yes. So simple logic. Pre-built for us automatically was this export button. Let's take a look at it. This was pre-built because of the use of the entity, but if you were building a listing or a form, you could add an export as well. This is exporting it to Excel. It has an action that creates a list, creates Excel from the data that's in this listing, and then it causes it to download. So there's a couple of actions behind that, but just clicking the export button, we'll get the download of this, and we can open it up and take a look at it. And Excel is taking just a minute to open up here, but I'll drag it over. So we can see all the data that's from that, and the message and the status, whether it's in progress or complete or new. So you could use this to work with your data, maybe export it to another system. To finish this off and to show off one more feature, it'd be nice to be able to get a list of all the things that are either in progress or complete. Assuming you had a big list, maybe you want to focus in on the in progress things. That's done with filtering. So if we go to our the definition of our entity, the contact me request, and look at the properties, the we can change status to be filterable. And so just by making that change, we're going to see an update to the way the listing displays. So now in the listing, we have status brought up here as a checkbox, and we can focus in on only those that are in progress, or we could change it to focus in on the ones that are complete. So lots of functionality that you can get in a short order. um, so that's what you can do with the starter plan. I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the limitations and how you can know. We've already started to see that. Um, when we look at uh, the Plant and App Builder area, you can see and learn more about the things that are not part of it. So for example, the ability to add custom roles, to be able to assign permissions to uh, by way of role to be able to access either screens or functionality, buttons, things like that, to be able to define a custom role like a customer service manager versus a developer team manager, uh, not part of it. And so this tells you exactly what's there. If you click the upgrade button, you'll see this in Marketplace and learn more about exactly what that is and why you might want to buy it, how to buy it. And so you'll see a variety of features, our SQL console, our workflow feature, which is a great, think of these like subroutines. You can define logic that has input and output. And so you can make very reusable logic patterns. Um, APIs where other systems can communicate with yours by calling an API on your system, doing things automatically, either once a day or once every 5 minutes, or when a database record changes, lots of options, or when an email is received, lots and lots of functionality behind automation. Um, and so those are like whole features that you can see are available only through an upgrade. But again, core features, action form, action grid, token, some tokens, all available with the core product. If you were to look at tokens, and I'm just going to create a test token here, um, and create one called count, and maybe it has the ability to create a constant token. For those of you who have used my tokens before, some of the other varieties like either database query or Razor script or running a workflow, that's a new functionality you wouldn't have seen before. But because you can run a workflow through a token, lots and lots of power here. But the only one that comes with the starter plan is the constant token, and so we can create a constant token to have things like an account number be defined in one place and be able to be used using this token throughout. Our search feature is also an upgrade. Version control is an upgrade. So that gives you the idea of things that are included, not included. And then as we look at any place where we can add actions, there's this menu of actions that are part of the product. And so, for example, lots of the code actions like running JavaScript or Razor are upgrade things. They're not included in the starter plan. Connectors, certain new functionality that does connections, that's blocked out. But lots and lots of things like being able to create um, tokens or variables in your process, excuse me, are included. So this is just another way that you can tell some things are and some things are not, and how to tell what's included. Um, upgrading for features, anytime you see that green icon, you can click and it'll take you over to the marketplace and you can start the discussion for doing an upgrade. And then last thing that I wanted to mention is that there are starter plan is one plan. The plan that we've been using, the other plans that we've been offering in these last years, like our harvest or enterprise plans, come with far fewer limitations. And so there's this ability to migrate from, you can either try on individual features to the starter plan or just migrate wholesale to the higher price plans. Lots of options in that, and its upgrades are both for features and for plans are instantaneous when you go to once a change has been made on our subscription model. There's a refresh button. You click this, you get the new features immediately, and so it's a very quick process, no waiting. So with that, I'm going to ask Bogdan to rejoin, and we will entertain any other questions about anything you've seen or would like to see. And then I've put these links back up on the screen just to remind you of how you can learn more.
Yes, and I actually put a link to the starter plan for DNN in the chat, which is the correct page to see. We haven't put it on the plans page yet. Because in this first phase, we are rolling out the starter plan just to the DNN community. The public release will follow in another couple of weeks, and then you see it on the plans page as well. You'll see a bit of content, but it's not as detailed as you'll see it on that page that I provided.
Perfect. So I see that on the chat saying slash starter plan for DNN. Good. So from anyone who's in attendance, if there's other questions, and then Bogdan, Patrick, I touched a lot of quite a few stuff, a few things in the starter plan. If I skipped over something that you think I should have shown, be happy to go back and do that. And while you're thinking about that, just a final reminder, low code campfire Friday, 10 a.m. Central. We'll continue this discussion. It's a nice back and forth group, and whether it's talking about the starter plan or the things that you can do, how to solve particular issues you're facing in Plant an App or with a DNN site, great resource for you. Mark mentions listings included. Absolutely. Action grid, part of the product. Okay.
Okay, so if there are any other questions, feel free to reach out to me, to Dale. And you'll also get an email post launch. So we'll be announcing this with the proper details after this webinar, providing a link to this webinar as well if you want to go back to it. So let's keep the conversation going. Happy to discuss, to make it work for each and every one of you.
Very fine. With that, thanks for joining us, spending your hour with us. We do this again in 2 weeks. We'll pick another topic and talk more about Plant an App. Probably have to do more with our 127, the new version of Plant an App launch. So we'll take that up. And if we don't see you Friday, perhaps we'll see you then. Thanks for joining.